Hey guys, redch0psticks here. Sorry for the lack of videos. We've been having some technical and personal problems going on, but it's all taken care of. So, what do I have for you today? Well, it's a game I haven't played for a long time. Today, we're looking at Clock Tower 3.
Released by Capcom in Japan in December 2002, and then released over here in America of March 2003, Clock Tower 3 is the fourth installment of the franchise. And yes, I know that sounds odd, but there is a reason. Over here in America, we've only seen two other Clock Tower games, Clock Tower 1 and 2. But over in Japan there was one for the Super Famicom, and we here in the US didn't know about it until a port came out for it later on. Clock Tower 3 is the first and only video game to be directed by Kenji Fukasaku, director of films Tora, and his more controversial film, Battle Royale, before his passing in January 2003. Now, some of you might be wondering, why am I looking at Clock Tower 3 and not the first one on the Super Famicom or the one on the PlayStation 1?
Well, basically, I played this one before the others.
Keep in mind when the PlayStation version came out for Clock Tower, I was only about 7 years old and my mom was keeping a close eye on what games I played. I wasn't even aware of the Clock Tower games until I was in high school when I bought this game in the pawn store with a couple other games as well, one of them being Dot Hack.
Now, I don't remember a lot about the game, but I do remember this much. I played this game one time, and then I stopped. It's a really good sign about this game. Kinda made me wonder why I stopped playing. And about an hour in, I remember exactly why.
Our game stars Alyssa, a young girl who's sent to boarding school by her mom and was given instructions not to come back for 6 years. When her 15th birthday is coming up, she heads back home worried about her mom, only to find a really creepy man waiting for her.
My sweet Alyssa, I've been waiting so long for this moment.
Get away from me!
Yeah, that's not creepy at all. As Alyssa looks for her mother, she discovers her family's past and what her destiny is. What is her destiny? Well, hold that thought. We'll get there in a minute, but for now, let's talk about the game itself. Clock Tower 3 is a survival horror game. The goal is to survive the game from all of the evil spirits and monsters, while helping the good spirits pass on due to your family's destiny.
I just realized how weird that sounded out loud.
I say this is odd because Clock Tower 3 is such a different from the other Clock Tower games. While I never played the other games before this one, I do know this much in the first few. The Clock Tower games were all point and click with multiple endings. Clock Tower 3 is the first game in the franchise not to have this. The game only has one ending and you have direct control of your character. Speaking of which, let's talk about the controls. The controls of this game is very much like Resident Evil and Silent Hill, tank-like controls, with different camera angles during the game. The controls do work and there is a slight delay, but it's nothing you can't work around. You use X to confirm, circle to crouch, square to walk, why you need to I have no idea, and triangle to use holy water. Oh yeah, holy water. Basically you use holy water to activate transport runes, break seals, and stun enemies.
The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Before we go into great details about the gameplay, let's move on to the graphics, and they did not age well. The full CGI cutscenes look pretty decent, but the in-game graphics are not their best. Now at the time the graphics probably looked pretty good, but you can tell they've aged. They're a bit too smooth on character models and the backgrounds seem very flat at times, and the color is a bit dull. Not a lot of color comes out in this game, but considering that this is a horror game, it does fit the mood. I have to admit, I have a soft spot for them. I played a lot of games that had the same kind of graphics, so they kinda grew on me, and I get a nostalgia trip every time I see them. Since I'm still talking about the technicals, let's go on to how the game sounds. For the most part, the game voice actors do a decent job. They seem to deliver well, and while some lines don't work out as well, they do a decent job. Except for one. Allow me to introduce you to... Dennis.
Oh, how to explain Dennis? I don't think I can. You know what? I'm just gonna play his very first clip. Enjoy.
Dennis? What are you doing here?
Pull me up! Hurry! Phew! I thought I was a goner for sure. Long time no see, Alyssa. I haven't seen you since we were in primary school together. It must be 3 years?
What do you think you're doing entering a lady's residence through a window?
I have to give you something. Here it is.
It's the key to my grandfather's room. Mother always has this key with her. What are you doing with it? You saw her? When and where?
Calm down, calm down. It was yesterday morning and your mother drove by in her car. Oh, and she said you might come back from boarding school and asked me to hand that key to you if you wasn't back in time.
She must have known I'd disobey her and come back here. She must have gone up to meet me. We just missed each other.
Hey, Alyssa, you've really changed since I last saw you.
I'm going to go and check my grandfather's room.
Hey!
Well, it looks like you've grown up too, Dennis.
Oh, come on. That was then and this is now. Wait a minute, would you?
And that was just his intro. He gets wuss. Oh God, does he get wuss.
I mean, nothing about him is likable. His first introduction scene is a mess. His tone of voice does not fit the motion of his animation, and just makes you head scratch and wonder what the hell is going on. On top of that, he has no point in this game. No, seriously, you can take him out of this game and nothing would change. Also, this guy is annoying. His voice is grating at times, and the stuff he says just makes you want to go and punch him in the teeth.
You can count on me, partner.
Oh God, shut up.
Wait, Alyssa! Don't treat me like a girl. I'm the man here.
No, seriously, shut up.
Something special.
Oh dear God, please shut. What is he doing? Seriously, what is he doing? What kind of noise is that? Oh dear God, I wish I had a button that could just end this. Better.
Since we're talking about annoying sounds, let's move on to the music. The music is not that good. While some can get a pass, for the most part, it's just underwhelming for most of the game. As an example, here's the chase music. Heart pounding, huh? Here's reading music. Immerse yourself. Oh, and here's my favorite. It happens at the clock tower near the end of the game. And it just keeps going and going. It's loud and it's just noise, noise, noise.
That's it! Oh, this does absolutely nothing for the music. It just makes me feel better. I wonder if I could use this in real life.
Let's finally get to the gameplay. Alyssa, with no explanation, can time travel to different locations and must help wandering spirits find peace and move on. Again, really odd to say. You can move her around, collect items, find key items, and fight bosses. More on that later. Again. You can also solve puzzles, but these are not like the puzzles from Resident Evil or Silent Hill. These are just find the right item and use them to continue the game. You also run into the enemies of the game, ghosts and subordinates. Ghosts are nothing to worry about. They're slow and they can only hurt you by hugging you. Some might get you, but they are not a threat. You can use holy water to stun them, but in order to get rid of them, you have to use an item to help them move on to the afterlife. These items usually involve something for them to move on. A pendant, a gift, or a pin, something like that. These are not that hard to find, and when the ghost is gone, they leave behind an item. These items can be lavender water, sigils, or invisibility band. These items are not useful to you until you meet a subordinate. These guys are relentless. They will constantly chase after you and will only stop if you stay hidden. This is where the panic meter comes into play. When you get hit by an enemy or by a ghost, your panic meter goes up.
Yeah, getting hit with a hammer or sprayed with acid, it just makes your panic go up. Why would you think that getting hit with acid or a hammer would hurt you? Oh wait, because it's a giant hammer and acid! Hello!
I know that the older Clock Tower games had the same mechanic, but in those you can get scared other than attacks. In Clock Tower 3, the only surefire way the panic meter goes up is by being attacked, sometimes just scares, but mostly by getting hit. If the panic meter fills up, Alyssa goes into full panic mode. In this mode, she can run wildly, can threaten to trip, and even stand still out of fear. If she gets hit again in full panic mode, it kills her instantly and the game is over. These subordinates kind of remind me of the clown from the movie It. You scare him first, then you kill him. In order for your panic meter to drop, you have to get away from the subordinates or use your items. Lavender water can lower your panic meter, sigils can take a death blow for you if you're in full panic mode, and the invisibility band turns you invisible. Duh. And the subordinates will leave you alone. But it's only for a few seconds and it's invisibility, not silence. If you move, they will find you again. The main thing you'll be doing is hiding and running. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say running? Cause this isn't running, this is lightly jogging. This is how fast Alyssa runs. There is no run button to make her go faster. At least give me the illusion that she's running fast like in other horror games. The subordinates are just as fast, if not faster, and they will catch up to you. There is a monster with a giant hammer, a pair of axes, and giant-ass scissors. This is not a time for cardio, Alyssa!
Run, bitch! Run!
There are only two ways to get rid of a subordinate, either by hiding or by using evasion points. There are multiple areas where you can hide. If you can get to those spots before the subordinate sees you, you will stay hidden from them and your panic meter will slowly go down. But if the subordinates get close to you in your hiding spot, the panic meter will slowly go back up. Which makes sense. After all, your hiding spot is a thin sheet or behind a fish tank. I would be scared too if all that was protecting me was the poor decision on not checking the most obvious hiding spot in the first place. As I mentioned, if they see you get into your hiding spot, they will find you. They're not that stupid. Mostly. The other thing you can use is the evasion points. These are one-time uses that are designed to make them unconscious for a short period of time. The only problem is these evasion points are so cartoony and so pathetic it makes you wonder why you're scared of the subordinates in the first place. Eventually you find the item that allows you to save the innocent soul and it leads up to, well, a boss fight. You heard me.
Okay. I've been trying to find a way to break this next scene and I can't. I literally can't. I'm just gonna play this clip. This happens every single time you go into a boss fight. Enjoy!
Moon Prism Power!
God, what the hell am I playing? Okay, that moment right there is when I first gave up on the game because I wasn't expecting anything like this to appear. I mean, wow. Just wow. I can't believe I can say this. Clock Tower 3, in some form, is a magical girl game. And if you don't know what a magical girl is, here's a quick explanation. Wow.
The term magical girl is used in Japanese fantasy anime or manga, which features a girl who can use magic, sometimes against evil. Now what counts as a magical girl anime differs from person to person, but generally speaking, mainstream-wise, this can include Cardcaptor Sakura, Tokyo Mew Mew, and more famously, Sailor Moon. Okay, before we go into the boss battles, let's go back to the story. See, eventually Alyssa finds out that her family has the power to help torture souls from evil magic of subordinates called a rooter. Rooters gain the magical power at the ripe old age of 15, and eventually that power disappears, thus making the women marry at a young age to prepare the next rooter.
Oh God, where do I begin?
First off, why only girls? There's no real given answer as to why. It just says that only girls can have this power. I'm not saying that only girls should have this power, but let's have some sort of a reason. Second, why the age of 15 does this power show up? At that age, they're probably starting high school and they have to deal with the pressure of being a teenager. And then all of a sudden they unlock a magical power they can call upon? Anyway, back to boss fights. It's pretty simple on what happens. Your goal now is to battle the boss and empty his life bar to win. If your health bar goes down, you lose the game. The controls for this game is pretty much the same, but with two differences. The triangle button fires a magical arrow instead of holy water. If you hold the triangle button, you'll charge up your arrows for a greater shot and fire a ceiling arrow. Ceiling arrows will hold the subordinate down and allow you to fire off more shots. If you get enough ceiling arrows on them, your next shot will be fired in the air and perform your ultimate attack. There is also something odd that happens when you prepare an arrow. You sort of have this auto lock mode. Sort of. It doesn't lock onto your subordinates, just points you in the general direction. After that, you have to hope the subordinate is in your line of sight so you can get a hit. And no, you cannot move when preparing an arrow or even turn to aim the subordinate, because that would make things go a lot faster. You also have a button for special arrows that you find all around the area before a boss fight. Green arrows will hurt the boss, and red arrows will act as a ceiling arrow, but they only fire in the order you find them, so plan carefully. However, I would save all of those arrows for the final fight, and to be honest, these bosses are a joke. The first boss is the Hammer. He has no long range attacks and he takes big swings when he's going to attack. The only attack you have to worry about is this quake-like strike on the ground which can knock you on your feet. But if you get one ceiling arrow on him, then move out of the way, he cannot get to you and you can just hit him with more arrows and beat him. Next is the Corridor, a crazy man with sulfuric acid. He's one of the few bosses to actually have a range attack. He will fire shots of acid on you if you stand still too long. But here's the thing. If you can get one ceiling arrow on him, then move around so this machine in the middle of the field is between you and the boss, his acid will never hurt you, but your arrows can go past the machine and you can continue to hit him. I am not kidding. Chopper is next. He's like the Hammer, but he does toss his axes at you. But if you hit his axes with your arrows, they will launch back at Chopper and damage him, as well as stun him so you can hit him with more ceiling arrows. The Scissor Woman. I thought at first this was going to be some kind of bullshit kind of battle because for whatever reason, your auto aim is turned off. So you have to figure out where your arrows are going to go and pray that the Scissor Woman shows up at the right moment. Granted, she has the least amount of health compared to all the other bosses, but this could have been a long battle, but for all the dumbest reasons. Now for me, I got lucky. She popped up at the right moment and I shot an arrow and took her down. In little time too. The Scissor Man is next, and your auto aim is back again.
Again, why was it turned off in the first place?
He also has an energy attack, but if you listen carefully when he shouts, you can dodge the attack. Much like Chopper and Hammer, get one ceiling arrow on him and finish him off. Then we get to the final boss, the only boss that's going to give you a hard time. As Alyssa takes care of all the subordinates, she discovers the Ritual of Engagement, which says that if someone removes the heart of a 15-year-old Ruder and drinks her blood, they will successfully perform the ritual and become an entity and live forever. And it turns out that the creeper from the very beginning of the game wants to live forever, and it turns out to be her grandfather!
Dun dun dun!
Oh yeah, the grandfather. Well, basically it goes like this. He loves Alyssa so much that he wants to live forever with her, discovers the Ritual of Engagement and his family's history, making him insane. He kills Alyssa's mom and dad and wants to perform the Ritual of Engagement on Alyssa and kill her so he can become an entity and live forever with her because of love. Wow. Just wow. Back to the final boss. He is going to be a bitch. He's got his own ceiling shots and requires much less than you do, and he can fire a lot faster than you can charge. If he gets enough, and he will, you will see his ultimate attack, which is amazing to say the least. He can also strike you down with his sword, and he has a way to hold you with his pool of blood. Trust me when I say that you will die. A lot. But I eventually found a strategy to beat him. First, keep him as far away from you as possible, and use the stone table to block him from getting to you. Now the tough part. You'll have to fire an arrow, then quickly duck so you can dodge his shot, and keep doing this until his first bar is completely gone. After his first bar is gone, fire all your special arrows that you saved up. Get your ultimate attack off, then finish him off.
And that's Clock Tower 3. Yeah, that's it. I mean, you get the ending and you get this Ruder score, which I have no idea what it was for in the first place, and neither did anyone else according to my research. But that's all this game has to offer. I mean, yeah, you could play on a harder difficulty, maybe you can get a couple new costumes, but honestly, why would you? In the end, I don't know how to feel about this game. I mean, it's not good by any means, but it's not awful either. It's like a glass of water.
There's nothing wrong with getting a glass of water, but it's just water. It's not exactly bringing a lot to the party. That's Clock Tower 3 in a nutshell. While the graphics and the controls are okay, the rest of the game is lacking. The music and characters are annoying, the story goes everywhere, and the boss battles seem like the last minute additions. In the end, this game is average at best.
If you're curious about the Clock Tower franchise, honestly, I'd start with the first 2 games. While the graphics may look primitive by today's standards, trust me, you'll get a lot more out of them. And as for Clock Tower 3, there's not enough here to recommend, and honestly, I'd pass. Well, that's all I gotta say about this game. I'm redch0psticks, and I'll see you guys next time. Ha! Oh, I must have been evil in a past life.